currently feeling miserable or trapped in your job? Have you considered early retirement? Yes, it is possible for you to retire in your 20s and 30s. I'm a living proof that it is possible since I've retired from corporate at 25 years old. In this video, I'll talk about the 8 types of FIRE so you can have a bird's eye view of all of them and also choose your own version of FIRE that works best for you. Let's get started. So the first form of FIRE is traditional FIRE. So this allows you to retire early after you hit your FIRE number. Your FIRE number is calculated by 25 times your annual expenses. So let's say if you spend $50,000 a year, then you will multiply that by 25, which makes that $1.25 million. That means when you have $1.25 million invested in the stock market in a low-cost index fund or ETF, you can then safely withdraw 4% of that money and be able to live off of that without touching or damaging your nest egg. This is also known as the 4% rule, which is calculated by an on average 7% year-over-year return in the stock market. That means even accounting for the on average 3% inflation year over year, you should still have 4% of overall capital gains that you can use to then support your lifestyle and help you retire early. The second type of FIRE is called lean FIRE. This is the more frugal version of FIRE, which allows you to live off of a smaller amount of money and allows you to achieve FIRE sooner. Usually we're talking about less than $40,000 a year or sometimes even $20,000 a year. The pro is that you'll be able to achieve FIRE much sooner if you pursue lean FIRE because you need a smaller amount of money, a smaller amount of nest egg in order to achieve lean FIRE. The con is you'll have to be pretty minimalistic, you'll have to be pretty frugal, or you might have to move to a lower cost of living city or even country. The third type of FIRE is Barista FIRE. This allows you to retire from your full-time job by pursuing a side income. And it does not necessarily have to be a barista job. It can be a freelance work. It can be a side income stream that you really like. And the pro is that you'll get to test out what early retirement is really like before you fully commit to it. And the con is you're not fully retired, you still have to do something, even though that something does not take up all of your time. And then there's Fat FIRE, which allows you to retire off of 100K or more every single year. But this also means that you'll have to hit an FI number of at least $2.5 million. This means you have to have at least $2.5 million invested in the stock market in a low-cost index fund or ETF that tracks the overall market performance. The pro is that you'll get to spend money pretty freely because you'll have 100K as your budget every year. And the con is that it will take you much longer to achieve this FI number of $2.5 million because that is a higher number, that is a lot more money, and you might have to take longer to get there. For people who don't already have really high income jobs, they might have to consider expanding to multiple income streams like what I did with my monetizable identity. And there's also Coast FIRE, which allows you to achieve FI or early retirement at a relatively early age after you aggressively save and invest for the first couple years of your career, and then you can just coast through early retirement. The pro is that Coast FIRE usually is a lower amount compared to traditional FIRE, so you'll be able to achieve it much sooner and see results sooner. The con is that it is less certain than traditional FIRE because there are a lot of moving parts, and especially when you do Coast FIRE, you have so many years ahead of you, it's hard to really predict what's going to happen in the next, let's say, 40, 50, 60 years of your life. And there's also retiring from corporate, which is what I am currently doing. This allows you to retire from a full-time job to pursue whatever you want, let it be working on a business or traveling to places that you enjoy, and basically just not doing any corporate related work. The pro is that, well, most people want to retire because they don't like corporate and they don't like corporate work and they like to have freedom, right? And so being able to retire from corporate solves most of the problems. The con is that you're still not fully retired, either by choice or not by choice. For me, it is by choice, but for some people, it's not by choice. And since you're still not fully retired, you might have to still do something outside of corporate. And there's also Wifey FIRE, which I am not sure if this is a well-used term, but I just came up with this term in my last video, and is basically having your spouse retire you. And this allows you to retire early without hitting any specific FI number. The pro is that you'll be able to retire early as soon as you find a spouse who's willing to retire you. So you can, honestly do this anytime as soon as you find that person. And con is also the same thing. You have to find that person first in order to reach Wifey FI. He has to be someone who is willing to retire you, is capable of retiring you, and also respects you after he financially supports you. And there is also choose your own adventure FI. This allows you to make up your own rules. The pro is freedom. You can design FI however you want to. You can design your own rules and you can create your own version of FI. The con is that there is no right answer, and this can be a little scary for some people. So far, we've covered the 8 types of FI and a bird's eye view of what they all mean. Have you picked the type of FI that works for you? The great news is I'm opening up a couple spots for one-on-one coaching. DM me the word power coaching on Instagram at cherrytongue.co to reserve your spot or ask questions. I'm also going to link my next video up here, but don't click on it yet. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for more FI tips.